Hi guys, I'm trying to go live on Facebook. Please bear with me. Hello everyone. It's Bob D. Nice to see you guys all. I see some people are joining in our Zoom group as well. Hi Mike, hi Ashley.
Hello.
Hey, Dr. Bob.
Nice to see you guys. Mike is the VP of Sales for Denticon, and Ashley is the solution specialist and an expert in how everything around Denticon works. We're going to try to do this as painlessly as possible. So I'm going to make Ashley the host so she can, no, actually Mike, no, actually you're going to run it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to make you host and you can go ahead and start. And at the end, we'll have some question and answers and we'll go from there. Sounds good?
Perfect.
Great.
Can you see the screen okay?
Yep. Everything's okay.
Perfect.
We can see it. Awesome. Well, hey, first off, Dr. Bob, thank you so much for having us here. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you all. This is my first ever Facebook Live in any capacity, so it's brand new for me. And you know, after we complete this, I know that this will be distributed to all the members of Dentistry in general. And should any questions come up or anything after the fact as well, please don't hesitate to reach out. Make sure Dr. Bob has all of our contact information. He can pass that along as well. And happy to answer any questions in the future too. So tonight, if there are any questions, you want to throw those into the chat, feel free to do that. We will have some time at the end. We're going to look to be as efficient as possible here. I'm going to go through a brief presentation for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then we'd like to show you some of the features within Denticon that can be really beneficial to your practice. So Ashley, do you want to go ahead and go to the next slide?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So this will be our agenda for tonight. We're going to start with what is the cloud and why does it matter? I know many of you are familiar with cloud software, with cloud computing, but just in case, want to do a brief refresher. We'll move into a little introduction of Planet DDS, who we are, what we do, what are our product lines. We have two of them. We have Denticon, which is our cloud practice management solution, and we have XV Web, which is our cloud imaging product. And then we're going to talk a little bit about some considerations when evaluating software and evaluating software companies to hopefully help you make a decision and make some choices when you're looking and seeing what's out there in the marketplace. And then lastly, we'd like to dive into a few of the features that Denticon has that can not only help improve your patient experience, but they can also help to improve your practice operations. Ashley, go ahead and go to the next slide. Awesome. So what is the cloud? Seems like a simple question, but there is a lot of complexity to it. But at a really high level, storing and accessing data and programs over the internet rather than on a hard drive or server that resides in your dental office is the cloud. Cloud programs only require a web browser and they may be accessed from anywhere. You know, to be honest, you go through your entire day, every day, interacting with the cloud constantly. 95% of Americans at this point use a smartphone. If you're using a smartphone, whether Android or Apple or otherwise, you are most likely interacting with the cloud frequently. In fact, many people won't even access any data from a local source, computer or otherwise throughout the course of their day. We at Planet DDS, we're a cloud software company. And in my office in Phoenix, we have no servers. So I've got a laptop. Every piece of software that we use, whether it's Salesforce or LinkedIn or Microsoft Office, are all cloud versions that we can access from a browser at any time from anywhere. So, you know, if you're using your phone and you're taking pictures, they're going to Google Photos or to Apple Photos. If you're making restaurant reservations through Yelp or Resy, those are cloud services. Really, other than your practice management software and potentially some hardware drivers that you have installed in your dental practice, what else are you interacting with that is an installed software on a daily basis in order to function and go about your business? Ashley, let's go to the next slide.
Sure.
Perfect. So there's really 4 reasons. Well, there's more, but I'm gonna focus on 4 main reasons of why you should care about cloud software, why it's important. The first one is security, and I bring this up as the first one because I believe that there's a common misconception that it is more secure to have a local server on premise in your office than it would be to use the cloud. There's a lot of misinformation out there related to the security of the cloud. You hear a lot of things in the press, but when it comes down to it, the cloud is actually incredibly secure. The picture on the right here is just an example of a data center. Obviously, cloud does not reside in the sky. So cloud are servers, large data centers that are spread out all over the United States, all over the globe. So they are comprised of physical locations, storing massive amounts of data. These servers and these data centers are managed by trillion-dollar companies. The largest companies that we have, think Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Apple, that invest literally billions of dollars into security on a yearly basis. They've secured highly sought after government contracts. They protect the data of companies and citizens across the globe. These centers have multiple sets of redundancy and backups built in. If a sinkhole opened up and took one out, they'd be able to stand another one up. The data is available not just in that one physical location, but in multiple physical locations. In fact, there's really no chance of you as an individual achieving the same level of security in your local office as you would receive by taking advantage of a cloud solution. I know we've heard of some ransom attacks in dental recently. There was a big one that happened in Colorado just a little over a year ago, affected something like 200 offices. All of those offices were actually using on-premise software solutions. They were using some of the legacy practice management. They were all managed through a single IT provider, and the attackers were able to access the data through that connection, but it was not cloud. It was through a managed service provider software solution. And so the cloud product is actually incredibly secure. Secondly, you have accessibility, which in today's world becomes more and more important. You can access your data from anywhere at any time through a web browser. There's really no restrictions unless you set them. And that goes back to security as well. With Denticon, you can limit access to users based off of their role or their profile, based off of certain times of day, certain hours in the day. You can limit based off IP address. And then when somebody's actually logged into the system, you have a lot of control into what they actually have the capacity to do. So not only are we secure from a cloud perspective, but we're secure from a roles and permissions perspective within the software itself. Also, there's a lot of flexibility with cloud. There's no need for you to worry about running out of storage, running out of space, needing a new hard drive, needing to up your server capacity. We flex, we scale up as you scale up on your behalf in the background. You'll never even notice. It won't be a situation if you're using like an old Apple phone where you've got to delete a bunch of your pictures to download a new app, or you can't take any more pictures because you're not using the cloud. When using Denticon and XV Web, it's not an issue. All of your images are stored, all of the data is stored, and we take care of the storage issue, and you don't need to worry about it. Which leads into number 4, it's a reduction in stress and in costs. I've heard of dental offices where they are putting disks into a disk drive at the end of the night, and they're taking those disks home with them, or they're using a separate hard drive that they're doing a backup on and driving back and forth with this backup data. You've got to worry about it potentially getting corrupted or something else happening, or you lose that data. We actually have one customer who has a number of offices with our solution, and they had a break-in at their dental practice, and somebody actually stole their server. They were using Denticon, wasn't an issue. They were seeing patients again the next day. But these are the type of things that can happen with on-premise server-based solutions without using, at least at the very minimum, a cloud backup. Let's go to the next slide, Ashley. All right, so just want to talk a little bit about the landscape here of cloud in dentistry. And I find this very interesting. I've been in dental for 2 years now. I've been in software for about a decade. I came from restaurant and hospitality industries that have a much higher adoption of cloud. In fact, overall, a study by Harvard Business Review showed that 60% plus adoption is pretty common in most industries at this point. Dental is sitting somewhere in the 10 to 12 range. I hear a lot of different numbers. Sometimes it's as low as 6 to 8, sometimes maybe up to 15%. But overall, the adoption of cloud technology is running dramatically behind most other industries across the country, most other businesses. I have a few kind of theories as to why that is. And the first one, I think, is that predominantly most people in dental have purchased their software and their practice management from their suppliers. And so over the years, the loudest voices in dental and, the two major suppliers haven't had a cloud offering. One of them has had a cloud offering for a much longer than the other one at this point. But one of them, the major providers, just released their cloud solution over the past 6 months to 9 months. Another one that is really well known in the imaging space just released their cloud product over the last few months. Between those three companies, they have the majority of the market share of dental offices using their on-premise software. They would have very little motivation to guide somebody to modernize their practice and move to the cloud because it didn't serve their interests at that time. I think we're seeing a change there in the industry. Now, Denticon, Planet DDS, has been around since 2003. I'll touch on that in a little while. But we have a proven track record. We have a number of offices and across the country that are using our solutions. But that's all we do is software. So there is definitely a little bit of a disconnect in the dental industry from that perspective. And then the second aspect to this is that IT providers are very important for dental offices. And I am not saying at all that a dental office should not be using the services of an IT provider. And in fact, the most sophisticated of the IT providers out there are encouraging their clients to move towards cloud solutions because they know what's in the best interest and they know it's going to work out well in the future. And they're looking to help the offices that they work with modernize and future-proof their technology. But unfortunately, that's not the case overall. And you see a lot of recommendations by IT providers to not move to cloud. And it's predominantly due to a threat, a feeling that their services will be diminished or maybe not needed if all of these dental offices start moving to cloud solutions. Again, I personally don't believe that to be the case. There's a number of different things that an IT provider should be doing for a dental office, including making sure that all the networking is set up, that the firewalls are correct, that your routers are good, that your hardware is working properly, that everything is up to date, that your antivirus is working as intended, that all the other software components are updated when they need to be. Doing access control with a server should you still want to keep a server. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an IT provider, but I am saying that unfortunately, the narrative that has kind of been pushed on dental offices for so long from both the IT side and then the legacy supplier side is don't move to cloud because both felt threatened by the cloud. Go ahead and move to the next slide, Ashley. All right, awesome. So We put this together. It's essentially the software landscape in the dental industry. We have a lot of our competition on there for cloud practice management solutions. We have our imaging competitors on here for both cloud and on-premise. And really the point of me showing this is, you know, there's a lot of options out there, not just with your mission critical, you know, practice management software, but with all of the different software that you can be implementing into your dental practice. And, you know, just as you're very dedicated to staying up to date on the latest procedures and treatments for your patients, it's important to stay informed with what is happening in the software ecosystem for dental. There's programs for memberships, teledentistry, call tracking, call training and scoring, data analytics, AI, financing, marketing, and more. So the key, again, is to really have a strong central nervous system, which is your practice management software. And if your practice management software is only allowing you to just run your business and you're just using it because it seems good enough, I would really encourage you to see what else is out there, because there's a lot of things that aren't just good, but that can really, really help. And then a few notes on evaluating software. So when you're evaluating software companies, you should consider whether or not the company is well-funded, whether or not they're profitable. Look at the size of the company. How many employees do they have? It's a question that is not frequently asked in the evaluation process of the software, but it's important. You want to know that that company is going to have the capability of supporting you and your practice during the implementation and once you're using the software. You can ask how many they have. You can also go onto LinkedIn, pull up a company profile, and you can see how many employees they have on LinkedIn. Not that it's a 100% surefire method, but in the software space, most companies have the majority of their employees on LinkedIn, maybe 75 to 90% accurate, but it'll give you a good sense. I think for Planet DDS, it says we have somewhere in 130 to 140, and we're right in that range. I think 150 is a closer number for us. You can also see where the employees are based, and it's important to ask, you know, where is the company located? Will they be available when you need them? Do you like the people that you've interacted with at the company? Are they talking about what it looks like to get you using the software, what that implementation process looks like, or are they just asking you when you're going to make a decision? Another thing I think is really important is the company have a strong dental ethos. Is dental in the fiber of the company? I mentioned, you know, I myself am 2 years new to dental, but that's not the case with most of the employees that we have at our company. Planet DDS is rich with people with a deep, deep breadth of dental knowledge and experience, and it really shows in the implementation of our clients and in the support of our clients. And then lastly, another thing which to me is important is what are they focused on? For us, you know, we're focused on providing and building the best dental software in the space, and that's it. End of story. We're not distracted with other business lines, business units, or selling into other industries. Dental is our focus. It's where we want to be. It's what we're passionate about. It's what we're looking to improve. Can you go to the next slide?
Absolutely.
All right, so a brief introduction, and then I'm going to let Ashley jump into showing some products. So we do have two product lines. We have Denticon, which is, again, our cloud practice management. We have XView Web, which can be used even if you're not using Denticon. So in fact, probably the majority of our customers using XView Web imaging are using it in conjunction with an Open Dental or a Dentrix or an EagleSoft. So there are lots of options here. And really, when you're talking about storage in the cloud, the vast majority of the storage that is taken up on your servers is the imaging piece. So if you're not ready to move into practice management, but you really do want to start to relieve some of that storage burden and not be data warehousing inside your dental office, XView Web could be a great spot for you to start. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so quick company history. I don't want to spend too much time on this and bore everyone, but we were founded in 2003. We really spent a lot of time with the product from 2003, 2013, building it out. It is an enterprise class product, So we're able to service not only solo practices, but to scale up into large groups as well. We received an additional capital infusion in 2015, and then it really kind of started to hit full stride and see some tremendous growth numbers starting in 2018 through 2015 through 2018. In 2019, we partnered with Level Equity, which is a growth private equity firm out of New York. Their entire portfolio consists of software companies, predominantly in health and dental. And then in 2020, we acquired Apteryx, which we had been white labeling the Apteryx XP Web solution for a long time as part of our practice management platform. And there was such a great fit with the company and a lot of synergy there that we ended up acquiring the company and integrating as a single company under the Planet DDS umbrella. Why do I share this? Really, it goes back to just who do you want to work with and who are the companies that are out there. We didn't just start up yesterday. We're not going away tomorrow. We've been around now for 18 years. We have well over 6,000 offices using either our Denticon cloud product or using our cloud imaging product, and another at least 15,000 clients that are using our legacy imaging software. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so when considering costs, oftentimes, we'll hear things like, oh, I'm using X, Y, or Z legacy software, and I'm not paying anything for it. And you guys are looking to charge anywhere between, $450 to $650 a month for your service. This is just way too expensive. I'm not interested. And it's right, correct about the costs that we're looking to charge, but that ties back to that we are a SaaS company. And if you're not familiar with the term SaaS, it stands for software as a service. So instead of purchasing a license and installing it and then waiting until it goes obsolete and purchasing another upgrade or another version, then having to install that, ours is always up to date. It's always current. And it really touches a lot of other software that you most likely have in your dental office, at least some of these things. So we touched on IT services. I'm not saying you can cut out your IT services, but depending on the level of service you're receiving from your provider, you might be able to diminish the cost. You should be able to remove the cloud backup aspect at a minimum if you're already doing a cloud backup. If you're not, well, that was a cost that you probably should have been paying anyways. So now you'll just be able to apply that to a cloud practice management solution. Any sort of patient self-appointment software allowing clients to directly book appointments on your schedule to get an exam, we handle that piece. Any sort of patient consent forms, registration forms, electronic forms, that's done within Denticon if you're paying a separate software provider for that. Data analytics software, we do have built-in reporting and analytics capabilities. Patient engagement and recall software, that's built into Denticon as well. Eligibility services, e-claim, electronic prescription software, and then you may also currently be paying for on-premise or legacy software support service contracts, which support is included when you're using a SaaS product. So that's yet one more expense you'll likely be able to remove if you move to a cloud platform. I do want to mention that at Planet DDS, while we have a comprehensive solution and we offer all of the capabilities that you see listed on the screen and can replace that, we appreciate the fact as well that some of you may have really strong relationships with other software vendors, whether it's an analytics platform or whether it happens to be patient appointment scheduling or a patient engagement or recall solution. And we do have the option of remaining flexible, where you can still plug in those tools into your Denticon practice management and have an integrated solution with some of the software partners that you may be, very fond of, that are solutions that you don't want to part ways with because it's worked out very well for your business. So keep that in mind. While we can replace it all, we don't have to. And that is part of the choice that you will make when you're evaluating our software platform and determining what's going to work best for your practice. You go to the next slide, Ashley.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to turn it over here in just a second to Ashley. As Dr. Bob mentioned at the beginning of the call, Ashley is our solution specialist. As I was talking about a strong dental ethos in your company and having deep, rich dental knowledge, and myself not painting that, Ashley is the opposite. She's been in dental for 18 or so years now, and she's managed offices. She's been an operator. She really kind of lives and breathes dental. So she came on board with Planet VDS a few years back. She drives a lot of our product demonstrations, and we're going to just highlight a few of the features that you may or may not be taking advantage of or even have available in your current practice management solution that can really help your practice. And that's going to include our Appoint Now feature, allowing patients to book their own appointments, a morning huddle dashboard to keep your team on the same page, Smart Assist to really gain a lot of control over what's happening inside of your practice, and then quick fill insurance verification, some of our texting capabilities, our native in-chart imaging, which is XU Web, which again can be purchased as a standalone product as well as our e-claim capabilities. So Ashley, with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Sure. Can we see my screen okay?
Sure can.
All right. So I'm going to show the 3 patient-facing features, which include being able to book an appointment online, completing that online registration, which comes directly into Denticon. So no need to scan anything. It's not just a PDF. It actually comes in and fills out all of the information that the patient fills out. And then the patient portal is an option that patients will have to pay their bills online. So this is my office's fictitious website. And if my patients want to schedule an appointment, they can click here. They're going to enter their information here on the left. I'm going to control everything on the right. So like Mike mentioned, I used to be an operations manager. This would have freaked me out a little bit until I learned how it works in Denticon. I can control what kind of appointments, how often I allow these to be available to my patients. I can even control who they can book with. So once they select an appointment type and they select who they want to see, or maybe they don't care, they're going to tell me, I don't know, Wednesday, anytime. And then once they click view available appointments, all of those options will appear here. Once they select an appointment, it will be placed on your schedule in real time. The office will get an email right away when somebody schedules to let them know that a patient has booked an appointment. If it's a new patient, they will get a confirmation email along with the link to complete their online registration, which is where I'm going to go next. So this online registration link, you can email it to the patient, you can text it to the patient, you can hand them a tablet when they walk into your office if they have yet to fill it out, or again, it will be in that confirmation email if they book online. So they're going to do a consent here. They can translate if they need to down at the bottom left, and then they're going to hit agree. I'm going to ask them to enter their name and date of birth. And what it's going to do is check and see if I'm already in the system. If I'm not already in as a patient, it's going to ask me to register as a new patient. It's going to bring over last name, first name, and date of birth that I just entered. Referral type is a requirement before the patient can move forward, and these are customizable. The next tab is going to be the billing tab. This is basically anybody that is responsible financially if it's not the patient. They have an opportunity to enter primary and secondary insurance. This will come into Denticon. And with Denticon, you can actually store up to 4 dental insurances and 2 medical insurances with the ability to cross-code and bill medical electronically. Your medical alerts are completely customizable. You can also make these automatic flash alerts. So if anytime a patient checks that they're allergic to latex, it'll automatically be a flash alert on their chart. So your patients can check no to all, and then just check whatever pertains to them. When you get to the questionnaire, it's going to be broken out into dental and a medical section. So if you have forms that you currently use, or if you have questions that you want to make sure get answered, this is completely customizable. I added a COVID-19 section for obvious reasons. You can have drop downs here. You can have them type out why they want to come in. You have check boxes. You can really create this however you want. So this is the dental section. And then when I scroll all the way to the bottom, it brings me to the medical section. And again, you can customize this however you like. Then the next tab is going to be consent letters. Now, these are not treatment consents. These are general consent forms that pretty much every patient would have to sign before they came in to see you. So HIPAA being probably the most important, they're going to read your HIPAA policy, initial, sign. I'm doing this with my mouse off of my laptop, but you can do this on your phone. You can do it on an iPad or another tablet, whatever works. So when I hit approve, and then the next two things I have here is my appointment policy and a photo release. These are all customizable. And then the last thing the patient's going to do is review everything that they've entered to make sure that it looks accurate. It's going to ask them for one final signature. They're going to hit save. It'll automatically come into Denticon, and I'll show you where that notification is as soon as we get into Denticon. And then the third one is the patient portal. The patient portal is one option patient have for paying online. So you can also text to pay, email to pay. But if they want to create a username and password, they can log in here. They can update their information if they need to. They can see their last appointment, next recall, and then most importantly, do they owe you any money? If they choose to pay their bill here, this once they click pay bill after they've entered their credit card details, it will automatically post to the Denticon ledger. So there's no need for the front desk to have to make sure a payment was documented. It will automatically post and it will appear on your deposit slip. Let me go into Denticon. So I launched Denticon using Google Chrome. Each user is going to get a unique username and password, and with that comes the rights that Mike had spoke about earlier. So you can control when and where somebody can log in from. Since we're cloud-based, really 24/7 access unless you take those rights away. And then you can also control what they can and can't do within Denticon. Maybe I don't want a new hire to be able to delete cash. All of that is controllable by you. So when you first log into Denticon, you're going to see a snapshot of where you are production to goal, where you're at with collections. This is what we call our morning huddle dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it and make it a little bit bigger. So I can see where I'm at with production. We're almost halfway through the month and I'm killing it. I'm at 125%. However, my team is not collecting on what we're producing. So this is an easy way for me to talk about what we're doing versus what we're collecting in a morning huddle. I can see where we're at production month to date. I can see what our new patient count is month to date, what our recall count is month to date. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to look at my providers. What are they actually doing every day? Each provider is going to have a certain goal that I need them to meet in order to meet that month-end goal. So Dr. Johnson on average is doing 4,600 a day. He needs to continue to do 3,200 a day till the end of the month. Now this is based on working days. He may only have 10 working days left in the month, but this is what he needs to do in order to meet that month-end goal. This is how much production he has scheduled today, tomorrow, and the next working day. Down here at the bottom, I look at as potential opportunities. So I have my total exam count. I have 5 exams coming in today. I can see what their insurance is. I can see if they have any medical alerts that I should be aware of. We're also going to break out the exams by recalls, continuing care, emergencies, and new patients. I need to get a hold of my AR because nobody should ever be at $33,000 a month, but this is where I'm at right now of outstanding AR. I can easily click here, and any patient that's on my schedule today that owes me money is going to be listed here. It's going to tell me what the total outstanding balance is, how much of that is on the patient, how much of that is on the insurance. Then we get to the middle one, pending treatment of today's scheduled continuing care exams. What this is telling me is these 3 people are coming in for a recall appointment today. They were seen in the past. We diagnosed treatment. We indicated that they accepted it. For some reason, it never got completed. So I know that Mike said yes to $5,100 worth of treatment on his last visit. He has no medical alerts that would prevent me from doing same-day dentistry. I'm going to talk to him today about getting this treatment started. The same concept applies for SRP opportunities. So this is going to be anybody who's on your schedule today for a perio maintenance or a 4910. If they're scheduled, whether it's you or with your hygienist, and they're coming in for a perio maintenance, it's going to show you anybody whose SRPs were done more than 2 years ago. The reason we go back 24 months is because typically that's the limitation with insurance. All this is reminding you is, when was the last time we did a full probing on the patient? Could they benefit from 1 or 2 quads of SRPs, or are they truly a perio maintenance patient? We can take a look at yesterday. We know that we can't change anything, but if I had a doctor in green, I'd probably give kudos for a great day. You can see how much treatment was diagnosed, how much was accepted, of that how much was scheduled, and what was completed. This no reappointment percentage should never be at 100%. What this is telling me is that every single patient that we saw yesterday walked out without a future appointment. And we know that it's a lot harder to chase a patient than to schedule them and then have them call us and tell them they need to move something than try to get them scheduled. When we get to where we stand, it's going to break it out month to date where you are with goals. And then at the bottom, it's going to break it out year to date. Let me close out of here, and then I will go into the schedule. So our schedule is going to be this little calendar icon. Actually, before we do that, I just want to point out this number 43 are all of the patients that registered online. And all I have to do is attach what they filled out to the patient. But Denticon's also going to check to make sure there's no duplicates. And as you can see, I'm in here a lot. So there's a lot of identical patients found. But this is really to prevent you from adding duplicates. And it is going to bring in everything that the patient filled out. So address, insurance, everything's going to come over. Let me close out of here really quick, and then we'll go to the schedule. So I'm going to go right here to the calendar, and it's going to pop out the schedule in a separate window. So if you're like me, I actually work off of 3 monitors, which is why I keep looking over here. I can run my schedule on one monitor and Denticon on the other. A lot of people work off of the schedule. I know I did. So I can see today that I have a little over $17,000 of scheduled production. But there's some tools built in that will help with collections, help with making sure forms are signed, and then help with filling holes in your schedule that appear throughout the day and the week. So Mike talked about Smart Assist. What that means is if I click on Anthony and I say, hey, he's here in the office, he's ready to be seen, this window is going to pop up over here on the right-hand side. The top half, I would say, is for your front desk team, and the bottom half is going to be for the back office. So I need to collect payment today. I have 2 options. I can send him a quick text message. He can click on that link, make the payment. Again, it'll load right into it'll post right to his ledger, and we're done. If he wants to pay, say he wants to pay in cash, I click on the word payment. It's going to bring up what he owes me for. So today his estimated portion is $300, but he also has a past due balance of $530. So if I wanted to collect that total $830 and then choose one of these options, I could, or again, I could always text it to him and he can pay off of his phone. I have no email address on file, so I would click here, add that email really quickly, hit save. Already have a cell phone. I have not checked his eligibility yet. We do have real-time eligibility checked already built into Denticon, so either he was an add-on same day or he didn't give me his insurance information in time. So I would be able to update this once I verified his eligibility. I have my medical history defaulted to have a patient sign every 12 months. You can customize that however you like. So this is telling me that in the last 12 months, he has not updated his medical history. So I have 2 options. I can click here, have him fill it out, or I can text him the link. He can answer those while he sits and waits. Once he hits save, it'll automatically update into his chart. Same thing with the HIPAA policy. You can do the same thing here. The bottom half is just telling me there's no progress notes charted for today. There hasn't been any procedures posted, and he doesn't have a follow-up appointment. These should be green by the time he leaves the office. All of this should be green by the time he checks out. And then we're going to talk about quick fill. So if I look at tomorrow and I want to fill with him over here, I want to fill this crown spot for Dr. Johnson. Normally, I'm going to run a report, or we have a running cancellation list somewhere in the office on a clipboard. Here with Denticon, all I have to do is search quick fill. And what this is going to do is search for anybody who, number one, is asked to be notified if there's a cancellation. The second thing I'm going to do is add anybody who's missed or canceled a crown appointment with Dr. Johnson within a certain date range. It's going to bring me a list of patients. So instead of calling, let's say there's 30 patients here, that would take me an hour to call. Instead of calling everybody, I'm just going to send a mass text message out. I can customize my message however I want. Say, hey, tomorrow Dr. Johnson has an opening for a crown. Let me know if you'd like to take it. Once a patient takes the appointment, the other 29 patients will get a second text message that says that appointment is no longer available. So it's really just a quick way to fill your holes that appear throughout the day or the week, those last minute cancellations, or if you had a big case booked and they canceled 2 days early, then you can try and fill those. This is another view of the schedule that you can have if you're more visual and you want to see, everybody who's here. As far as the real-time eligibility, that's going to be noted on the patient's appointment. So if I look at Mary, this red P indicates that her primary insurance is not eligible. And all that is telling me is whatever I have on file, it's not eligible. I can send the patient a quick text message. I can send an email to say, hey, I have you for tomorrow, but your insurance doesn't look like it's correct. What's your new information? So I can simply get that information from the patient right from the schedule. You can also text consent forms. So I'm going to move this down for a second. I'm going to go right here to my two-way texting. I'll bring up Mr. Richard Sherman. And he's insistent on a payment plan, probably because he can't play football. But here's where I can send his consent request. So right down here at the bottom, I have the option of sending any note that I want to from the chart. I can request payment right here. It says payment portal. I can send them a link to make their own appointment. I can send them a link to complete their registration. And then here is the consent form. So any consent forms that I have stored in Denticon, they can sign through their phone and it will store back into their chart signed. So I can do that right from here. Back to the schedule. Anything else I missed here? No. All right, we're going to go to the clinical part. So let me close out of the schedule. And I'm going to go, let's pick, have images. So our images can be seen on the odonogram. So once I click show x-ray, it's going to let me pick dates. So if I want to look at the most recent, I just click here. And then any tooth that has a PA, bite wing, or intraoral photo is going to have this little thumbnail. So all I have to do is select the tooth and the image will come up here. And then if I wanted to switch dates, I could do that for that same tooth right here. And then in our actual x-ray tab, you can compare x-rays and all that stuff. But this is our built-in on the odontogram where you can look at images right here. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on is our electronic claims. So once treatment's completed and a claim is created, you have two options. You can send the claim right away. Most of us do it throughout the day. So we have a section called batch claims. If I were to click on create batch claims, what this is going to do is sweep the system for any billable procedures that have no claim created and create the claim. So that's a way to make sure you're not missing anything that you should be billing out that somehow got forgotten. But most importantly, you can do all of your attachments right within Denticon, and we're going to validate the claim to make sure it's good to go. So over here on the left, you see these green check marks, and then you see this red X. So this claim is not going to go out electronically. And if I hover over it, it's going to tell me why, and it's because the patient's missing a date of birth. So on the right-hand side, you're going to see these red paper clips. The red paper clip is indicating that I need an attachment. So if I click on the claim and I go here to DXC claim attachment, here's where I can add my x-rays. If it's SRP case, I can add a perio chart. Most importantly, I can pull in the doctor's progress notes. I don't have to copy and paste anything. So if I want anything to go into, anything from the progress notes to go into my narrative, I would simply hit select. It will automatically pull it in to my narrative, and then I can adjust this as I need to. Maybe they don't need to know that the patient left happy. I can add my images right here. And then again, I can attach that perio chart if I need to. Any other documentation or any other images that I need to attach to this claim in order to get it sent out and paid, I can do all of that within Denticon. Once I've attached everything, then I would hit OK, and then down here at the bottom, I would select eClaim. I'm not going to save any of that, but that is how easy it is to send out all of your claims and make sure that things are getting attached so those claims can get paid. And that's all I got, Mike.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley. Actually, one other thing while you're in Denticon that I did want to mention is, we really value our customers and all the dental practices that we work with, and our roadmap actually receives feedback from Denticon users, and a lot of what ends up getting built into the software comes as a result of requests that we receive. And so we come out with new releases essentially on a monthly cadence. And Ashley can show you here where within the software itself, you can go and you can actually submit a feature request. You can search for other feature requests that other users may have submitted in the past. You can upvote whether or not you feel that that is a valid request that could be really useful for you. And our product team takes this into account, and our users see on a monthly basis when the release notes come out, anything that came through this pathway and through these feature request submissions will have a light bulb next to it. And you'll see that that was a new feature enhancement that came as a result of a request of a Denticon user. So, I just point this out because it's, not, while our product team comes up with a lot of new innovative things that we want to add, we are also very conscious of listening to those that are in the system on a daily basis and making sure that we're able to implement new features and enhancements there as well. One other thing just on the security side of things, we do have a HIPAA attestation of compliance. It is done through a third party. We get that updated on an annual basis, so you can be sure that you're using a product that is keeping all of your data safe. Dr. Bob, that was pretty much what we had scheduled to discuss today. Any questions or anything else that you'd like us to touch on?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of introduce my trusted IT guy who's here, Anthony, and one of his main concerns, as we discussed before, was multi-factor authentication, and I understand you guys are actively working on that and will be implemented soon.
Yep, absolutely. So MFA is a goal for us, and we're actually internally with all of our own systems implementing SSO as well. So that is a goal for us from a security perspective. And in the meantime, while we don't have MFA right now, we do have a number of controls that can be put in place to ensure that if a login was compromised, that the amount of information that can be accessed within the system is minimized, and also that you can prohibit access even from IP address. So if that was something that was important and you didn't want somebody from any IP address other than approved, say the home IP address of the dentist that owns the practice, you have those controls that you can put in place as well.
Great. And the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is that, you know, I hear a lot of dentists talk about how DSOs are taking over and how independently owned dental offices are a dying breed. I don't buy any of that. What I do believe is that Denticon, I mean, this was, as everybody knows, I'm not a customer of Denticon. I'm a fan of Denticon. But this was very comprehensive. This is a comprehensive suite of software that you guys are providing. It was designed, in my opinion, to cater the DSOs. And I tell every dentist that talks to me that if you want to compete in this day of corporate dentistry, you better use the same tools they're using. And these tools are essential. I mean, figuring out what your collections are, what how you can fill a hole in the schedule. These are things that, you know, little guys like us don't think about it, but this software will let us know. Now, Mike, can you also tell me, as far as training goes, do you guys have library of information that people can watch and learn about this once they're signed up?
Yeah. So I want to touch on a couple things there, and thank you for bringing that up. First, just in regards to the training, we have an LMS, or learning management system, where we have different modules, and you can actually get self-guided training through different aspects of the system and track which one of your team are going through or have completed it and have done the actual coursework to ensure that they are up to speed with how the solution works. So that is part of what we offer that's comes with the software. In addition to that, we do have a training team. They do remote training sessions. We also do on-site training. We also offer go live support, either remote or on-site. So we have a number of resources throughout the entire country, all across the country, as a matter of fact, that are all dental experts to support our clients. On top of that, what Ashley is showing you right now is our help portal. Ashley calls it the Google of Denticon. And essentially you can search for anything that you're looking for there, and you'll have articles related to pretty much any topic that you can imagine. And so oftentimes we use this internally if we're wondering if the system does something, because to your earlier point, I do want to touch on that, is it is a very comprehensive solution. You know, this is something that's been developed now over 18 years. And, you know, I hesitate to even bring up DSOs because I know that oftentimes with solo practices, there can be a negative connotation when it comes to that. But to your point, Dr. Bob, you're right on. That there are a lot of tools that are being used in these large operations that are absolutely applicable to a solo dentist and to their business. And although, you know, we can call half of the top 20 DSOs in the country clients at this point, when you look at our complete client base, we're at about 50-50 practices that are associated with the DSO versus those that are not. And so, although we have that reputation, and rightfully so, because we do have the largest footprint in the cloud when it comes to practice management within large, very well-known DSOs, we 100% are very, very dedicated to serving and working with solo practices as well. And while I came into the company thinking that it was an advantage that we could essentially democratize the tools that some of these big guys are using and provide it to everybody, oftentimes just even bringing that up in conversation tends to get a negative look, but it is the truth. And one of the things that, we really pride ourselves on is transparency as a company as well. So I think that's an excellent point that you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who thinks that DSOs are going away is just fooling themselves. The best thing that we have is to compete with them, and I compete with them on a daily basis. I mean, there's a DSO literally next door to me. I don't mind. I mean, I always say if they provide better dentistry than I do, they deserve the business. If they don't, they're a source of referral. So that's how you look at it. What I want to bring up is how aggressive you guys have been in pricing this for our group. And it makes a lot of people think. I think, what is it? Our price all in?
Yep, that's right. And that's comprehensive. So that is including unlimited storage, that's unlimited updates, that includes support, that includes the Denticon solution. And so, you've got the imaging, which is, sold separately at times a month. So it really is an aggressive offering that we've put forth that, quite frankly, again, going back to the adoption of cloud with dental, you've got to think about it a little bit. If every major provider of dental practice management software now has a cloud solution that they are presenting in front of their clients, how much effort is going to be invested in bringing the legacy systems up to date or continuing to develop and add new features to them? Or is the focus going to be on cloud? And if you are wanting to have the most up-to-date feature set with all the capabilities that come with that, it's really no longer going to be available with legacy on-premise solutions. And that's just the reality of the situation. And so whether that's, this year, next year, or within 5 years, that's the direction that we're going. And I think people are going to realize a lot of benefit. And right now we're offering an opportunity to, I hate to say an early adopter because we've been around for 20 years, but given the percentage of practices using cloud, it's still kind of in that time frame. And so as such, we're being aggressive with this pricing, which, is not something that we had typically offered in the past. And we really hope that all of your members, seriously consider taking us up on it. I think there's a lot of value there to be had.
And this is independent of the amount of users they have. So if it's one office.
Yeah, and actually going back to the security piece, to touch on that. So a lot of solutions will bill by user. And the downside of that is because you're paying more per user, people will start wanting to use shared logins, which is really not a secure method of doing business. And so, we really want our practices to be as secure as possible, and they should not have any second thought in adding additional users if they need to, because their price is going to increase. And so that was one of the things that we've changed from a pricing structure, and we now do it on a per location basis.
Yeah, that's great. I don't have anything else. I didn't see anybody putting any questions up. I'm sure that if they have questions, they post it in the group and I'll bring it to you guys or answer it myself. Is there anything else you guys want to touch base on or before we end this?
No, I just, again, really appreciate the time. If there are any other questions, don't hesitate to distribute my contact information. It's mhufaker@planetdds.com. Feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn as well. And we look forward to working with your members and taking part in more of these in the future. We really, to be quite frankly, just barely scratched the surface on all the capabilities the software had. We're hoping we didn't lull anyone into sleep, but we can certainly do some deep dives in the future on some of the other capabilities that are offered.
Yeah, I would like to maybe even do little short 15-minute videos concentrating on one feature at a time. So this way we can have a library of things that people can get introduced to Denticon, basically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we can certainly support that. So,
Great. Very nice.
No, well, thank you again. Have a great evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And
Thank
we'll talk
you.
to you guys soon. Take care. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.